Hi, how's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7, back again with another view from the van. And no Newcastle United game this weekend. Obviously, all the football games up and down the pyramid have been called off as a sign of respect, obviously, for the passing of the Queen. So, no Newcastle game this weekend. Next weekend's game to be confirmed. We were due to play Bournemouth at home. Eddie Howe going up against his old team back on home turf at St James's Park, but as we speak at the moment, I think it's looking really doubtful that game will go ahead. There is going to be a state funeral and a national day of mourning, a bank holiday day is going to be awarded, so regardless, I think, to what day that falls upon next weekend, my honest opinion, and this is just my thoughts, is if they cancel this weekend's game, they're more than likely to cancel next week's scheduled round of games, and no doubt conversations are taking place as to how we can reschedule the football programme with the World Cup sandwiched right in the middle of proceedings and everything. I can't imagine the rearranged fixtures taking place this year, so you're looking at next year, and I've heard talk about extending the season by a week. I've heard about dates in the middle of January, possibly free as a midweek game to squeeze into the schedule. So we will await further news. I don't think it helps to speculate and stuff like that, because there's people for it, there's people against it, but my just personal hunch is if you cancel this weekend's games, you're more than likely to cancel next weekend's games, with that funeral taking place on one day over the course of the weekend, whether that be Saturday, Sunday or even Monday. So that's as it is. So yeah, no preview for the West Ham game. It was a shame, because I personally felt, on a sporting level, on a football level only, putting all the events to one side, if Newcastle had gone down there, I fancied us to be able to get something out of the game. West Ham obviously played in European competition during the week, and despite the fact that we would have been missing players, obviously, because I don't think the injured, the injured players that we all want back were going to be back for this game realistically. So, but I still think we would have had more than enough in reserve to be able to get points out of this game, and it would have been good to be able to try and get a win away from home and get those 3 points in the back. But like I say, it's not to be. There's no point crying over it or anything else like that. The game will get played later down the date, later down the road, as it were, and by then we may have players back. There may be other players injured. It's all swings and roundabouts. There could have been more transfer business done before then. Remembering, obviously, the January transfer window isn't too far away from opening up, of course. So it's all up in the air and stuff like that. We've got to put that game to the back of our mind. Most likely probably put the Bournemouth game to the back of our minds, but no doubt that Eddie Howe at the moment is still planning as if we are going to play the game, because he's meticulous like that, and he will want the players primed, raring to go, really revved up for points and stuff like that. So on the off chance that there is football next weekend, and I've seen different various things about pulling all the games forward, so it's all played on a day, so it's clear of the funeral day, etc. So if it does go ahead, you'll want them ready, because it's a massive match, and it's a game that we've got to be targeting 3 points at home against Bournemouth with the greatest of respect to them, and obviously their recent struggles and stuff, getting obviously pumped at Anfield, the manager situation. Taking all that into account, we need to go there, put on a good performance, and get the 3 points. That's the absolute bottom line on that one. So if it goes ahead, fingers crossed, we need the 3 points, we need the performance, we need the goals, we need Isaac, firing like he was before. But before that game, before whenever we play next, whether it's that game or even the following game afterwards, which I think is Fulham away on the 1st of October, whichever game, it looks like we're going to have a new goalkeeper probably sitting on the bench. Karius. Now, he is a lad who mostly everybody in the world of football remembers from playing a game in the Champions League final whilst he was concussed, it must be added. It later turned out a couple of days further down the line he was playing with concussion, so the fact he was able to perform at all on the day remarkable, to be honest, when you put it back into that context. But yeah, he had an absolute howler, an absolute nightmare. Liverpool didn't trust him from that point on. He's had various loans out. I think Besiktas and Union Berlin loan moves. His contract with Liverpool actually officially only ran out this summer, so he's only been a free agent for a matter of weeks. Now Newcastle, rocked on the injury about Carl Darlow. The injury curse fucking strikes again, which is really disappointing. But rocked on the injury about Carl Darlow possibly missing a decent chunk of time. We've gone out straight away. To the club's credit, they've gone out straight away and they've got somebody else in. Talking about Ben Foster being approached, and also Loris. And now this deal for the German, that's been done. It was reported a couple of days ago that he was on Tyneside, he was getting a medical, and the deal has been done, finalised and sorted. Now it hasn't been announced by the club yet, but again, that could just be a sign of respect and not wanting to rock the boat or anything, or just knowing that the announcement can wait until further down the line. But so many trusted journalists, people in the know, people with connections at the club are all saying that the deal is done, it is complete. He has been seen on the training pitch, working with his new colleagues and stuff like that, and bedding in with the with the team and stuff. So the deal is done, let's face it. He's talked about over the summer. I read a report, an article where he was talking to a journalist, and he was talking a lot about the psychological side of the game and improving that. He says he's in match sharpness, he's match condition. There's none of that sort of issues there. But he's been talking a lot about getting his head in the right space and stuff like that. And before the Champions League game, he was doing decent stuff for Liverpool. I remember we played them down at Anfield, and he had some cracking saves when he was down there. One particularly from Diame, which I thought was a Newcastle goal all fucking day long, but he somehow got his fingers to it and palmed the shot away. Now there's a lot of fans really disappointed with signing the lad again, with the Champions League final against Real Madrid fresh in the memory, but having to react with a limited amount of free transfers about. It probably is a decent deal for the club. It's a short-term deal, believed to be through to the January transfer window, with an option from the club to extend that through to the end of the season. So it's a no-lose situation really, because if he comes in and he has a stinker, I don't know, against Palace in the cup, in the League Cup, and he's not doing great things and the coaches don't rate him, then we're not going to have that deal go past January, because we've got the option of recalling Martin Dubravka then, or we can go into the transfer market and bring somebody in more suitable for our situation and stuff like that. But if he does well, plays a blinder against Crystal Palace, comes in, impresses the coaches and stuff like that, then that's great. We picked somebody up for nothing who will turn out to be okay as a number 2 option to Nick Pope, and will keep Nick Pope on his toes. So he's got the perfect audition. It's all up to him. He's got the opportunity to impress, to put the graft in, to add to the dynamic of the group, if you will. He's got that opportunity and he has to take it. If he doesn't, he'll find himself back out of employment again before you know it, and it's not cost the club at all much in just wages basically for a month or two. So I don't think it's a much of a risk deal for Newcastle, to be honest, and I sort of agree with the thinking behind it, in that we need at least 3 goalkeepers. Keith Gillespie, I'd have him back in his prime any day, but Mark Gillespie is the number 3 keeper, and I just don't think he's trusted to make that step up. And I think I would worry if he was going into the Premier League as our goalkeeper week in, week out, if Nick Pope was getting injury. So it's certainly a brave and a bold move, but I think it's one that makes sense when you step back and look at it a little bit, and I don't think there is much risk in it for us, to be honest. But look, let's keep every bastard thing fucking crossed. We don't lose Nick Pope. You know, there's these England games coming up, and we fucking T-Rex arms. He's out of contention for those games, so there's going to be a vacancy in between the posts for England. Nick Pope should walk into that team if you're picking it on form and stuff like that. But we all know Gareth Southgate with his little fucking favourites and stuff. Yeah, that's not a given, is it, at all? But you just hope that Nick Pope picks up no injuries, nothing like that. That's the last thing that you want. No injuries, no red cards, no nothing at all, and he plays all the way through uninterrupted. And then we can, like I say, we can readdress, can't we? Come January, we've got options with Dubravka and then other keepers from other places, and no doubt the scouts are just keeping their eyes open a little bit on the goalkeeping situation. You know, everywhere else ready for January, because Eddie spoke about it in his press conference that the club is already active on the January transfer window and stuff like that. So you got to trust these people. They've got the best interests at heart, like the ownership and everything else, and yeah, it will take care of itself, no doubt about it. But for the time being, Karius comes in as our new number 2 at Newcastle United. So yeah, good luck to the lad, and I hope he absolutely nails it and does tremendously well, because if anybody can help you turn your career around, it's Eddie Howe. You've only got to look at the ML Crafts of the world, the John Joe Shelbys of the world, your big Joe Linton of the world, to see what he can do and how he can turn around your career and you know, get you back up to where you used to be, basically. Speaking about Joe Linton as well, touch on that one. The Brazil squad named again, and I don't know who the Brazil manager is. It doesn't come off the top of my head straight away, but whoever he is, he must be an absolutely raging idiot, because once again he's overlooked Joe Linton. Bruno's in the squad, despite the fact that obviously he's still officially injured for us at the moment. But no Joe Linton, yet he continues and he perseveres with Fred. And I don't know, it must be an alternative universe where he can look upon that decision as a sane decision, because quite frankly, I think anybody who picks Fred above Joe Linton is a complete and utter fucking mentalist. So yeah, give your fucking head a wobble. The Brazil manager, Joe Linton, has to be in there. He has been absolutely unbelievable for us, despite everything. He's absolute beast, absolute warrior. He's always fit and available. So yeah, I just don't understand that one. Maybe it's something about international managers, because I've always had that frustration with Gareth Southgate picking players, and you're like, what? Are you watching the same fucking game as me? Yet he still picks the same players, and it seems to be that sort of situation with the Brazil squad as well, with the likes of Fred, him in particular. Yeah, absolutely shocking. Yeah, so yeah, no preview, none of that. But obviously, fingers crossed, if there is football happening next weekend, if we are playing Bournemouth at some point over the weekend, then we'll be ready and back with a preview for the Bournemouth game. And that'll be a special game for Eddie, no doubt about it, and he'll be more motivated, to try and get one over his former employers. So let me know what you think down below to Karius. Do you think the games will go ahead next weekend? Be interested to get your views as well down below. And in the meantime, please do subscribe to Magpie 24/7. Turn the bell on, the alarm notification. But yeah, critically, please do subscribe to the channel, because lots, like 75% or something like that, of the people who watch the videos aren't subscribed, and we're trying to get the channel above 1,000 to take that first step with the YouTube side, because everything else, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, are all doing amazingly. So we're just trying to get YouTube to catch up a little bit. So we thank you for your support. We thank you for subscribing to us. And in the meantime, take care, keep it tuned. I'm going to get some graft done, and I'll speak to you later.